Okay, everybody, so if you haven't seen the first video, we're just doing little short clips here with Mike Hardy while he's generous with his time, so we're taking advantage. Basically, I've asked Mike to look into his crystal ball for lending in 2017. So if you're buying a home for the first time or if you're thinking of adding to your portfolio, this is where Mike steps in. Sure. With his expertise.
Sounds good. And I brought the crystal ball.
Thank
in case
you.
You're wondering.
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
You got it. You got it. So this is always the big question is people are wondering what is going to happen in housing. And a lot of times there's a concern, are we in a bubble again, right? That's a common, just whether it's a question or it's under the surface, that's what people are thinking and feeling.
Right.
And so there's a whole series of things that go into determining the value of a house.
Yes.
Price. And if you look back historically over the last 100 years, real estate will trend about a 4% growth rate, somewhere in the high 3s to 4% growth rate. So I like to look at really 4 key things, and maybe a 5th that I'll just talk through real quick.
Okay. Sounds good.
Demographics,
yes.
Affordability, rent versus own analysis, and trend line.
Yeah.
And then also inventory levels. We'll weigh into that on some level. So here's the reality. Demographics actually does have a huge play into the housing market.
Okay.
So if you look at the boomer generation from a number standpoint to the X generation, actually traditionalist boomers, X generation, and then millennials. There's a wave of millennials that are slower to make decisions to move into the housing market because of what they watched their parents go through.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's an emotion tied to the fear and the just the headaches of yesteryear back from 7-8 years ago.
Correct.
And their thinking is, I don't want any part of that.
Right.
Okay. But the reality is people are going to be getting married and it's hard to live in the parents' basement.
Yes.
For a long time.
Yes.
So at some point, they're going to start to move forward into the housing market. Rents are a part of that equation because, quite frankly, if somebody can rent an apartment for $2,000 or whatever that amount is now in the given area, or they can buy a home for $2,400, we can look at the equivalent tax deduction that they'll get as a homeowner compared to a renter.
Right.
And so they're starting to realize, hey, it is more beneficial to buy a home over time, especially because prices climb.
Correct.
So, but between demographics, affordability, the rent versus own, and then the trend line, those are things that can at least give us an indicator of the direction of housing.
Correct, correct. And then with the interest rates as well.
Great, yes, of course. And interest rates are going to play into the affordability. So the trend for interest rates is now moving up. We're at the end of what we call or have bottomed, and then we're starting to climb at the end of a debt super cycle that's lasted 30 years or so, and now we're slowly starting to climb an inch up. With that, if you look back over, I want to say it's the last 50 years or so, interest rates have averaged 8.25%.
Right.
So the fact that we are now 4% coupon, the low 4s. From a historical affordability standpoint, we're still scraping the bottom. We're bouncing up, and we're going to start to move up very slowly.
Right.
Given all that's the direction of things. But what I think what people want to know is how will that impact? Let's just cut to some numbers real quick. Something that was 3.75% back, whatever it was, 4 months ago, and now is 4.25%.
Right.
That 0.5% move in interest rates is going to be about $100 on a home in this area.
A month or
a month.
Okay.
Right, a month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and in talking about interest rates, a lot of people are fearing because they are creeping up, or they're hearing that the Fed is raising the interest rates. So we are talking about $100, like you said. But also keep into perspective, when I started in real estate back in '95, we were looking at interest rates between 18 and 25%. And we kind of touched base on that with the last video that we will never see again, but it's worth mentioning. It's all about checks and balances. And at the end of the day, even while the interest rate was at 18 and 25%, there were still a lot of transactions going on. There were still housing market was good. The prices obviously were not as high as they are now, but there's always going to be a factor that balances out the interest rate. So if your interest rates are high, usually, sometimes you can't predict everything, but your sales prices might drop a little bit.
Right. Well, and what will correlate is that is a sign of inflation moving up.
Correct.
So here's how this works. If rates are climbing, it means that wages are climbing as well. So from what somebody feels on a month-to-month basis, if their house payment is going up $200 because rates have moved up 1%,
Yeah.
and pick your example,
Right.
what is also happening, even if it might be slightly trailing, is guess what? They also got a raise.
Yes.
Okay, so from a feel of purchasing power and somebody's take-home income, usually these things move in tandem.
Right.
So a lot of times people get scared and they say housing prices are going up and interest rates are going up, but guess what's happening at the same time? They're
Right.
making more money as well.
Right.
So what they feel and take home, that same feeling at the end of the day, it's hard to grasp that mentally, how that money moves over time. But I think for somebody considering getting into the housing market, really what they want to know is if I have a healthy level of security in my future employment and future earning power, it really doesn't matter if interest rates go up 0.5% or 1%, because that $100 or that $200 a month, guess what? I just got a raise and now I've got $8,000 more per year that I'm bringing home for my
Right.
family. So those things move
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. And not only that, but the tax deduction again that you get from owning a home will
Right.
also help you out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So
Great point. Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot going on as far as real estate in general, but there always is. They keep us hopping.
They do.
That's for sure.
Keeps us on our toes.
It's really good. It's a fantastic industry. I just love it. So anyway, anything else you'd like to bring up that hasn't been covered, or?
You know, I think really something that's just really important to me, I believe that what's really important in the residential housing markets is the need for advice and strategic thinking
Yes.
to help make a good long-term decision.
Right.
Oftentimes, if there's uncertainty or maybe fear, a lot of the fears are unfounded when you start to look at the numbers over time.
Yeah.
There's more wealth built in real estate than any other area other than being a small business owner.
Correct.
Even more so than being a physician or an attorney, simply by by moving into real estate strategically and looking at this over a long-term plan. There's a lot of wealth that can be built up through real estate.
Yeah.
So at our group, our firm, our key model is to work with financial advisors and real estate professionals to help make good strategic debt management decisions that
Right.
will accompany another portfolio or the real estate portfolio. That's how we work.
Yeah. No, and that's another interesting point to bring up. What is your background like? Not just being a lender, but what else? What other industry did you come from?
Right. Well, ironically, I was a pre-med major in college and had
Yeah.
zero desire to go to med school, but I ended up becoming a financial advisor and working in that capacity for a number of years before moving into the real estate side
Right.
of things, to the lending side.
Right.
Yes.
So my point is that with his financial advising side and his background, and also moving into his lending, it's more of a full picture, a full scope, because not only does he have a grasp on what your lending needs may be and your real estate goals, but he can better tie that into and have an intelligent conversation with you in regards to just how it all ties together, and talk about your future goals financially or investment wise as well. So yeah.
Yeah, if
good.
something's not smart or healthy, I'll be the first person to say something. A lot of clients will come and ask us if it makes sense, should I refinance? And we'll run the numbers, and no, you're better, stay put.
Right.
We'll put you on a value watch or a rate watch, so when it hits a certain trigger point, then can proactively let you know it does make sense at a certain time,
Right.
and then can call and run the numbers then. But yeah, this is about, I don't feel like I've ever stopped being a financial advisor.
Yeah.
I just feel like I have a new set of tools now,
Right.
which is managing debt that accompanies somebody's real estate.
Right, exactly. And that's another reason why I team up with Mike, because I'm often told my clients as well, let's review the numbers. You want to sell? No, not now is not a good time.
Right.
So basically, we have a client first mentality. If it's not good for you, we're not going to want to put you in that position. We're going to want to make sure it's a smart decision that's going to benefit you in the long run and the short run as possible. So anyway, anything else?
You know, I don't know if anything else comes to mind. I guess I would say don't let uncertainty when it comes to what's possible for having a home for a family. Uncertainty there. Get good advice. Find somebody in real estate and in lending that you truly trust to help give good advice to
Right.
make the right decision, because those are the things that healthy decisions to be able to have the best environment for a family and move in. There's nothing better for I've got 4 kids. There's
Yeah.
nothing better for 4 kids than to grow up in a healthy home. And so oftentimes like choosing the right home, but that's going to be a good long-term strategy. All of this is about doing what's right for the family.
Right.
We happen to be able to build wealth through real estate as well, but for me, it's for the family first.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And there was just a study, 2 of them actually released. I forgot what university did it, but they released a study on children growing up with animals, dogs and cats,
Mhm.
and also how living in a home versus an apartment or things like that, how that affects the child as well. So when I get a chance, I'll go ahead and look those up and post them as well. But until then, talk to you soon. Thank you so much for
You
your
bet.
time.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
That's great.
And take care, you guys. See you soon. Bye.